It's not win or lose, by the way. It's a collective thing. But how do you assure that these people that we're talking about are? Where's the assurance that the abuse of religion will not be here? When we're telling you that the biggest Islamist party, or what is stated as the biggest Islamist party, is showing signs of either a lot of individuals, I don't know if that's
let him answer the question. What are the guarantees?
The real guarantees in everything is the people, and the values that people illustrate. Because again, when you have a society where 97% of the population tells you we want a constitution that guarantees freedom of speech, 75% tells you we want a constitution that guarantees religious freedoms.
All right.
That's a guarantee. And by the way, you can never stop religious scholars from endorsing candidates.
Okay, that is the other. You want to make a quick point.
All the statistics you mentioned, Ibrahim, are so great, but still it's not a secret for everyone that the voting in the last referendum was motivated by religious emotions and by political religious groups playing on people's religious emotions. We have seen this in the flyers that has been distributed. We have seen this in the TV shows on certain satellite channels, on videos, on the web. That are one of the sheikhs, and he's a Salafi, said very clearly, we made an invasion, like a new Ghazwat Sanadi. It's a very famous term now.
Okay,
this has been used by both the yes and no voters.
They are abusing religion.
Both have been motivated by religion, and the no voters, most of the Christians that I know are actually motivated
as a reaction. They were motivated as a reaction. If we from the beginning
I disagree.
Stop using religion at all, we will all have equal rights.
I think both equally abuse religion. I think both sides equally abuse religion. You should be fair.
Islamists abused it. No. Christians abused it as a reaction, not as a start.
No, I think the opposite is true. I think the opposite is true.
I think you've both laid out your position. I'm going to take questions from the lady in the front row.
Statistics again. Extreme poverty. Okay, and I'm sorry to say, very centralized type of education that do not encourage critical thinking. So do these people know that they have a choice? Actually, do I have a choice? Because this is democracy, even in Islam.
Okay, can we come to a final question, please?
Yeah. Okay. So how do you perceive about? I mean, if we're talking about implementing Islam, what about these 48% of Egyptians? How you're going to guarantee that they're not easily manipulated? And I would like to say a point about the referendum, because again, the people who voted yes, they did not know what they were going to if they voted no. And that was the biggest thing. It was not a proper democracy, because we did not know the choices we had. Thank you.
Okay, Sandra.
I totally disagree about the last point that I voted yes, and I knew very well what I was voting for.
What about no? Those who voted no, did we know where we were going if we voted no? No one told us. So that was manipulation. It was never a democracy.
If everybody shouts, nobody will hear anything, please. So one at a time, please.
Okay, for the referendum part, I totally accept the fact that yes, the no people didn't know what they're voting on, and that's exactly why the majority of Egyptians voted yes. It was not a question of religious manipulation or anything else. It was basically a question of us being by nature and historically a very conservative society. And the conservative society would not vote on something unless they could see a next step. The no was a radical vote, the yes was a conservative vote. So Egyptians voted yes.
Okay,
no, it was a representation of, yes, it's not a representation of Islamists, I totally agree. I don't vote for Islamists in elections, so I voted yes.
Okay, so, I'm going to take some questions from this side. Please, no, we're running out of time, and I really want to get in a few more questions if we can. Some questions to this side. Gentleman in the suit there, if we can get a microphone to you. Your question is for this side, yes?
I think that the liberal parties in Egypt only believe in the conditional democracy.
Conditional democracy?
Yes. If they win in the elections, then they accept the results. But if the other side, the Islamic parties, for example, win, they don't accept that, and they say that the Islamic parties should implement what do they want.
Okay, I'm going to answer that. You're in a perfect position to answer that.
I am a liberal, but I actually have been voting yes in the last referendum. This is number one. Number two, no, this is not true. What I'm saying is what we have been practicing during the last 2-3 months, what we have here in different party conferences. The Islamic, let's say, parties, they have been touring around and we have seen scaring statements, speaking about women, speaking about Christians, speaking about political parties. I'm talking about political.
Yes, they are individuals.
They have been saying very, strange statements, which everyone was somehow feeling a little bit scared about what they are saying.
It's not this wasn't from the political parties,
No,
but
it's political
not
parties.
from the politicians, but
Politicians,
only
ex-parliamentarians. I know them. They are friends of mine, and I respect them. But still, what they have said is something no one accepted.
But I think that all of their celebrations and the meetings they.
I'm talking about those reasonable, also reasonable. I'm talking about for example, the Justice and Freedom Party. But there is others, Salafis. Those are very difficult.
Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're running out of time fast. What I would like to do before we ask you to put your hands up for a vote is to ask each of our speakers just to say one sentence about why you should vote according to their convictions. Just one sentence each, very briefly, 10 seconds each. Dalia Ziada. One sentence about why these people should vote according to your convictions.
We are establishing a new Egypt that we wanted to respect human rights, individual freedoms, and civil rights. And to do this, we should be ruled not by religion, but by a rule of law that we all agree on.
Well, we are all after a united Egypt, so we all have to be very careful.
I call on the audience actually to vote against this motion because I believe that religion in Egypt and Islam absolutely has a role in politics, and this has been confirmed by the other side of the panel. So I find it a contradiction that they are now actually voting for this motion because they indicated that they are for Sharia in the constitution.
Ibrahim Al-Hujayzi. One sentence, please.
I think that for the new Egypt, we need the rule of law, and we need democracy, and we need diversity. And this will only happen through accepting the values of the people, not through challenging the values of the people. If we accept the values of the people, if we accept this, Sharia as a framework of reference, then that means that we are actually disempowering Islamists and allowing for other voices to raise, because we're challenging their policy and not their identity. Identity politics, they win.
That's a long sentence. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, now, if you would like to vote for this motion, that this House believes religion has no role in politics, that is the side represented by those on my right, would you please raise your hands and keep those hands up long enough for us to get a vague count. Just only one hand each, yes please. So we're going to get a rough count of your hands. Please keep them up. Indulge us, if you will, just for a little longer. It's the democratic process at work. Sometimes it can be a little slow, but we'll get there. Okay, do we have a count, rough count of those who are for the motion? And from this side, how many? Sorry? 32. So we have 72 in favor of 81 in favor of the motion. If you would like to vote against the motion, will you please now raise one hand each? You are voting against the motion. One hand each. Please just keep your hands up a little longer. So we have 81 votes for the motion, 74 against the motion. The motion has been narrowly carried. So all it remains for me to do is to thank our panelists, our respected panelists. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you to you, the audience. Thank you, of course, to the Swedish Institute Alexandria for providing the forum for us and for sponsoring this event. Will you please leave the questionnaires behind once you have filled in? It'll be a great help to us in future debate. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you.